What is up, Glory Gang?
Yo.
That's right. It's time for another episode of the Glory Boys podcast. Welcome back. I'm one of your hosts, Austin.
And I'm Darren.
And today we have an awesome episode for you. We're going to be talking all about self-awareness, how to not get caught in the comparison trap, and how much weight to give other people's opinions of your work, things like that.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's hit that intro.
Let's go. All right, guys, we have an amazing episode planned for you guys. Before we dive in, we have been really into a new trend lately. I wouldn't say it's a new trend.
No, it's a really old trend.
So just a quick little preface. I really love skateboarding. I have my whole entire life. I used to skateboard about 8 to 10 years of my life. I was like on a board all the time, doing tricks and doing a kickflip off of all kinds of stuff. Kickflip was actually my favorite trick, so I did it all the time.
We were still got it.
Yeah, and I just recently pulled out my skateboard and actually can still do kickflips, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, honestly. Like, well, you know when somebody says, "Oh yeah, I used to skate."
Yeah. Oh, everyone
like,
says
oh,
that.
Sure you did.
Yeah.
And it's like I never skated, and so I don't have I'm pretty jaded, I think, towards people who say that they used to skate. And
yeah,
so,
typically people are like, "Yeah, I used to skate all the time. I had a board in 8th grade, and I used to do these like 15 stairs, and I would like tray flip, crooked grind down like this massive double stair set."
Sure.
And then you're like, "Oh, sick. Like that's cool." And it's very rare that people are actually that good.
Yeah. But Darren pulled out his board the other day and I was like, "Yo, do a kickflip." And he did one. I was like, "Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. You still got it." And I could tell by the way that you did the kickflip that you actually were serious about skating it.
Yeah, I loved it. All my friends were a lot better than me, but it pushed me to be better. And we used to shoot, different skate videos and make little videos. And I think I have some footage somewhere. I'm gonna have to dig it up because I did some cool tricks on camera. So I have proof to show you even. Oh, but it made me think of when we were at the store the other day. We were like browsing the shelves as we do, looking for something to play with because we're freaking children. And I came across tech decks and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I used to play with these all the time." And I don't know, had you ever played with them or did you ever have them?
I don't believe I'd ever had one.
Yeah.
But I knew what they were.
So like me and my buddy, Brandon, like from way back in the day in middle school, we would build like full skate parks in his basement. And I mean, we had like a huge half pipe and like all these rails and ramps and like we would actually like skate through it, and he was really good at it, but I just always really enjoyed it. It was really fun, and I haven't played with one in probably 15 years. And we saw them at the store and I was like, "Bro, we should get this." Oh, we were out of town on a shoot and we were "Oh, we should get this and like play with it at the hotel room," because
were we in Georgia? Where were we? Oh no, that was the Iowa. We were shooting farms in Iowa.
Yeah,
and we stayed at a hotel in Dubuque.
Yeah,
of all places.
Let's just say the hotel wasn't very fun. There wasn't very much to do there. So
and their Wi-Fi never connects to our switches, so we can't play Rocket League or anything. So
yeah,
it's like, what do we do now?
Tech decks.
Let's go to Walmart and see what they got.
Exactly. So that's what happened. We bought a tech deck, and every so often we will pull this out at our desk and try to learn tricks. And so I learned how to do kickflips on my tech deck, and Austin's over here just
still trying to do a kickflip. I can do a bunch of other tricks.
Yeah, you can do a lot of tricks.
I cannot do a simple kickflip.
But yeah, it's been pretty fun. So we'll just do some tricks over our phones and like do tray flips and do some we learned how to ollie, like a good ollie. That's really important. But yeah, tech decks are a blast. They're super fun. They're like $3 for one. So
and they're so small. Like I literally keep it in my fanny pack most of the. Okay, so here's a story. We were at a wedding 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and they literally picked a skate park, or it was a public park with a skate park for the portrait session.
Yeah.
So we get there and there's a skate park. There's kids like doing tricks on their bikes and stuff. And one of the groomsmen is like faking doing tricks with no board because he's like into skating.
Yeah.
And I literally like go to open my fanny pack, and before I even got it out, he's like, "Wait, do you have a tech deck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have a tech deck."
In your fanny.
And so I literally pulled it out, and he like was doing tricks with a tech deck on an actual skate park ramp. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, it's
pretty rad.
It's so small. You can take it anywhere. And
it's fun. It's simple. It's tiny, and it packs a lot of entertainment.
Yeah.
All in just one little.
It's kind of fun to like go to new places. Like we went to Starbucks the other day, and there's like this really long counter. And we're like, this is perfect.
Oh, dude,
so
it
we're
was
like
sick.
doing tricks. The employees are all looking at us weird. But
Waiting for your latte, you can do a couple kickflips.
Yeah.
But that's been a little new, fun little thing for us to play with. Again, you know, we may be not children anymore, but we're childlike at heart.
That's right.
Playing with our tech decks.
That's right.
But hey, today's episode is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that people compare. Even talking about skateboarding, it was really tough growing up not being as good as the Nyjah Houstons and the Ryan Shecklers, because you put all the time and effort and work into the craft that you've become very passionate about. But when you don't see yourself get any better, you're always in this comparison mindset. And that was me all the time. My buddies were way better at skateboarding than me. And they actually went off to do some stuff in their career skateboarding. And I always dreamt of that, but I just couldn't get to that level of excellence or level of performance that they did. And so I ended up, you know, getting a real job and not pursuing skateboarding, but just keeping it as a hobby. But how does that align with kind of what we do as videographers, as cinematographers, as wedding filmmakers?
Yeah.
How can you get caught up in that web of comparison?
Yeah. Well, the unfortunate reality is that in pretty much everything, there's always going to be somebody better than you.
Right.
Unless you're Nyjah Houston, you know, unless
true.
you're, which he didn't win at the Olympics.
Right.
So there's somebody better than him potentially.
Yeah.
Unless you're Michael Phelps, there's somebody better at you than swimming, better than you at swimming. And so, yeah, it applies to our industry as well. There's always people that are going to be better than you, whether that's realistic or that's just your observation. You think they're better, maybe they're not, but there's always something to aspire towards. And so what we really want to help you guys, help equip you guys with in this episode is, how do you tell where you're really at? What does it take to have proper self-awareness? And I think that's really what it takes to be able to get rid of that comparison, is you have to know and be secure in who you are and your level of talent.
Yes.
And you have to be okay with that right now. It's not where you're going to be, you know, a year, 10 years from now.
Yep.
But it's where you are right now, and you have to be able to somewhat accurately place yourself. Because if you don't, that can lead to a lot of different issues, like you charge too much or you charge too little. You don't know how to value your services.
Yep.
Lots of different things. And that can get really toxic when you're comparing against other people. I do that all the time. People that have way more years of experience than me.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, our natural inclination is like, we want to be the best.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care that you've done this for 15 years. I know other people who've done it for 15 years and we're better than them.
Yeah, I really like what you said there. I think it makes me think of when you and I first started a few years ago, and we would watch a lot of Peter McKinnon videos, which he, I mean, has a wealth of knowledge. He's been doing this for forever. His grind, his passion, it's very contagious. And so obviously we took on some of that. And I think we even got to the point of like mimicking his shooting style, his photo and video editing style. Although some of that was probably healthy and we learned a ton from him, there was a turning point where we were like, we're not Peter McKinnon, and we never will be. We are Glory Visuals. We are Austin. We are Darren. And we really needed to figure out who we were and our identity and our film production company. A lot of people are trying to be the Parker Wallbacks because they see him on every single ad on Facebook, or trying to be the Peter McKinnons, or the insert, you know, some famous YouTuber here. And I think what that can do is, for us, and what I felt earlier on when we were mimicking some of the stuff that Peter McKinnon was doing, not seeing the traction that we would get, not getting the views, not getting the jobs, the connections, the collaborations that he was getting. And it wasn't fulfilling. We were just copycatting, and it wasn't really moving our company forward.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that is really important that you just said, and something that you can't do if you want to truly be self-aware of your company, and that is, you can't judge your outcomes compared to someone else's outcomes.
Yeah, that's great.
Without factoring in everything else. And I've done this many, many times where I'm like, but our work is better than this person. Why are they getting so many views on YouTube?
Yep.
Well, they've been doing it for 15 years. Like, there's usually a really good reason. And so what I've found is, like, we've just slowly and steadily over the course of the last 3 years started to not follow as many people.
Yeah.
And we learned enough to get to a point where we were confident that we could turn out a good product. And then from there, we really are still and will always be crafting our brand and our style.
Yeah.
And so you have to reach a point where you're confident enough in your skills where you say, I don't need to try to be like Peter McKinnon anymore.
Right.
I want to be myself using what I've learned from him.
So simply put, I think the biggest thing that you can do is just not compare yourself to people. You don't know the grind, the amount of hours, the amount of years of their experience. And I think almost every time that we've reached out to filmmakers we really look up to or aspire to be similar like, or really hope to do some of the things that they're doing, they've always been in it for 10 or more years than us. Every single time. And so we've just come to a place where we're confident in where we are as a company at 3.5 years old. We feel great at the work that we put out. And it took a while to get to that level of confidence, but we know that we can step into really any job as of right now and feel pretty equipped to crush it. It may not be like the way that this guy did in the industry or this filmmaker on YouTuber, but we really feel confident in our work and our ability.
If you're just starting out, don't feel like you have to know this right now. You'll continue to discover this.
Yeah.
Just embrace the journey.
Yep.
Don't obsess so much over the results or the numbers or the metrics.
Yep.
Understand that if you're just starting out or if you're a year, 2 year, we're 3 years into this thing full time.
Yeah.
We're still learning where we're at and discovering and every day changing things. And but what you said, we're confident in what we know, in what we do, in the work that we put out.
Yeah.
But I think an important piece of that is we also know what our weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that as well if you really want to have good self-awareness.
Yeah.
Is you have to know what you're not good at. I think a lot of people, there's two sides of the coin. There's the people that pretend they know everything and they really don't. And then there's people who have imposter syndrome that I'm going to actually just read what the definition of that is. One of our friends, Trevor, brought this up and I think it's a great point to talk about, but you don't want to be on either side of the coin. You don't want to think that you know more than you do. And you also don't want to discredit what you actually know. So imposter syndrome, I'm just going to read the Wikipedia definition, is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. I think this next line is super important. Despite external evidence of their competence, they can still remain convinced that they are frauds and do not deserve all that they have achieved.
Wow.
And I would say that we're on that side of the coin. I literally was just talking to you the other day and I was like, I don't feel like I have much to offer. Yeah. Because I feel like the success that we've had as a business, I almost can't take credit for.
Sure.
And that's just not true. I'm already discounting the hundreds of hours and the late nights and the sacrifices and how much we've grinded for what we have today. Yep. And so that's something that you really want to avoid. You have to learn the balance between those two things, between fake it till you make it, right, which can be applicable in certain situations, but people will be able to tell at some point if you're faking it. Yep. And then on the same token, you don't want to discredit yourself and think that you're only here because of luck, because you are here because of your talents and because you have a skill. Yeah. So, and another thing that I think can help with that is other people. One question that we're asked is like, how much weight do you give people's opinions of your work? So do you want to talk about that a little bit of like, how have we found people that we can trust to speak into our work? Yeah. I think it all comes down to just who's in your circle, who's in your people group, who do you have great relationship with. I don't necessarily care for the opinions of people outside of just our friendships. And if you don't have a relationship with me, I probably won't or care to have your opinion about how we should run our business. And maybe that's, you can go into like having mentors or other companies that, share some of their knowledge and that's kind of in a different lane. But I'm just solely speaking to, hey, come check this video out. What do you think? What should be different? We don't really let a lot of people into that seat. Nope. Because
not because we're proud, but again, one, we're confident in our ability. But we are open to feedback.
Yep.
We have people in our lives that come through the office, or people that work in the same building as us, and they'll come pop in and we're working on something like, hey man, what do you think of this? And there's a few people that when they say, hey, I would actually adjust the audio here, or I would pull, 2K out of this audio. Like, you can get really, really into the weeds, but there's people that see things differently than you do. And so we absolutely let some of those people we have great relationship with, that we trust, that want to see us win as a company, let speak into certain moments.
Yeah, I think that you said one key thing there, that want to see us win as a company.
Yeah.
If there's somebody that is a competitor that you're letting speak into your business, just stop.
Don't do it.
Unless it's a really great friend that you both have a mutual interest in seeing each other succeed.
Totally.
One thing that I would say to that as well is we almost ask more for feedback than we do for what's good about it.
Yeah.
And that again is with very specific people, because you can find a lot of people that will tell you that your work's really great.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're talking about.
Totally.
And so I don't need that.
It gives you like a false sense of I'm really good, a false sense of pride. That can get you in a really dangerous spot, because honestly, I see a lot of films that are submitted onto platforms on social media that are pretty terrible, and the whole comment list is too afraid to say, hey, every other shot is colored way off, or these transitions need a ton of work, or this song was way too loud, or you used the same song for 14 and a half minutes. Like, this is boring. And I think when you get into that place where like you can't receive feedback, that's a really dangerous spot to be.
Yep. I love that. And like with anything, it's a balance. You don't want to give too much weight to the criticism. You also don't want to give too much weight to the positive feedback, because like you said, you can really get your ego filled and your head filled thinking that, oh, everyone loves my work because 30 people commented, what a sick film on my film.
Yep.
But if you don't have the one filmmaker friend that's actually going to tell you what's wrong with the film so that you can make it better, you need both and I don't think you should put too much weight on either, because you have to run it through your self-awareness of, I know who I am and I know where I'm at.
So one thing that I see happening all the time is we are a part of a lot of different groups on Facebook, some local, some, nationwide, filmmakers, wedding stuff, photographers, designers, artists, church creatives, really anything. And I'm sure you guys are too. But a thing that I see all the time is people posting their work and almost like wanting praise for what they put together. And like I said before, I'll see tons of comments on that, just like, wow, this is amazing. This is so great. This is so good. And I think there's something really damaging when people aren't real and honest, like I touched on before. And I just think we've really stayed away from those. When we first started our company, we posted a couple times. We'd post, hey, we worked on this, like any feedback, or hey, we got our website built. Can you guys go through it and let us know if there's any bugs or any issues, or is the user experience good or bad, and how can we make it better? Which I think that's what the groups are made for. But I think right now it's like a flex zone where you just post your latest and greatest and hope to get some, I don't know, some.
Yeah. So if you're posting things, because I feel like most of the time it's because you don't have the close friend circle to give you the feedback. So you have to post specifically trying to get positive affirmation that your work is good. And that's a really dangerous place to be. So again, it comes back to, have you built relationships with people that you trust their opinion and you trust in their best interest for you? Because if you haven't, then your only option is really to go to those other places for affirmation.
Yeah, and I think really this is the reason we started this podcast. This is the reason why we are so open and honest on all of our social media platforms, is that we want to offer a space where you guys can come and ask those questions.
This podcast is all about, we want to see you win. So you already know we have a vested interest in your success. I don't care if you live in Omaha and you're a direct competitor of ours.
So if we're speaking to you right now, you don't maybe have that circle of friendships that can speak into your business or about your work. That's really why we created the Glory Boys podcast, is to create a community, to be a part of something bigger than yourself, and to have a safe place to offer constructive criticism and honesty. And we want to see you win. We want to help you. We want to help you grow. And we were just talking about this today, but I think that we should probably start some sort of Facebook group or some kind of group where we can have that collaborative experience together as a family, because we want to see you win in your business, in your life, in all that you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you.
Yeah.
If you have any further questions, or if there's anything else that you want to hear us talk about on this podcast, email us.
Yep.
hello@gloryvisuals.com. Shoot us over a film that you have and ask for criticism. We'll gladly give it, give you honest feedback from a standpoint that we want to see you win.
Yeah.
Not that we're a competitor or anything else. We want to help you grow your business.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, reach out if that's you. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating if you're enjoying this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell to be notified every Wednesday when we post these podcasts.
Ding.
And yeah, I think that's it for this week.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.